All right, let's watch 10 famous tornado videos. Didn't we just hey, whoop.
June 8th, 1951, a tornado outbreak occurred throughout the states of Oklahoma, Kansas, and Missouri. The most notable and destructive of these tornadoes was an F3 that struck the communities of Colony and Corn, Oklahoma. Thankfully,
Corn, Oklahoma. Corn? Oklahoma? Corn.
no one was killed in the tornado, but this event does mark an important milestone in tornadic history. During the event, a local farmer by the name of John Gosen, who lived just south of Corn, quickly grabbed his 16mm motion picture camera and began filming this footage.
I don't know why, like, when I heard 16mm, I just, like, pictured him picking up a gun. I know a 16mm isn't a gun, but it's just like, in my head, I pictured, and he picked up his rifle and went outside and started shooting at the tornado. See, that's the shit I want to see.
This was the very first tornado ever captured on film in the United States. It was the first of thousands that would follow in the decades after. Tornadoes. They're a rare sight, especially if you're not seeking them out. And for this reason, tornado footage /
Why does it feel like this is overdubbed? Am I crazy?
Videos play a huge role in the enthusiast community. There's a reason why so many people make a living chasing and filming these incredible forces of nature. People want to see them. And while there are thousands of tornado videos, some have become quite famous.
Does Mike look crazy? No, I know exactly what mic that is. I honestly think his audio is just like probably shifted or something like that, because it doesn't look like it's matching.
This may be due to their close proximity,
to me before
their
all the
unique
time.
angle.
And then everyone in the comments wouldn't stop. Like, dude, anytime that happened to me on a video, like if say like I'm exporting and then like the audio shifted on the export and I didn't realize it, oh my god, every comment is, oh my god, dude, I can't watch this. This is so unwatchable. And it's like no one even pays attention to the video because the entire time everyone's whining about how my mouth isn't matching the words perfectly.
Or perhaps even a funny quote.
I hate Oklahoma.
And that's what we're looking at today. My own personal top 10 amateur tornado videos. Amateur meaning these videos were not shot by professional storm chasers. That's a video for another day. But with that said, let's get into it. Also, this video is sponsored by Rocket Money. More on them later.
I get a tornado like once a week. It sucks. Yeah. Man, my town got missed by the last tornado situation, but I think there's another one.
We're starting off number 10 with the classic tornado video. That's the July 5th, 1991 Gull Lake, Minnesota footage captured by Robert, aka Bob Goodery. The July 5th, 1991 Gull Lake tornado was an F3 that started off as a water spout. It then came ashore and destroyed a few docks, as well as heavily damaging a few lakeside cabins. At one of these lakeside cabins was Bob Goodery, who quickly busted out his camcorder to film the tornado as it formed over the lake.
Check it out. Check it out. Yeah. See it, Bob? Yeah. Get your video on that. There's your...
Bob Goodery's video starts off pretty innocent, as it shows the tornado way off in the distance, slowly crossing the lake. Everyone's joking around, having a good time.
Here it comes. Here it comes.
But the tornado slowly gets closer and closer, and things become a bit more serious. Everyone runs into the cabin towards the back to seek shelter, while some intense winds and destruction can be seen outside of the now broken front window.
God damn.
This video was in many documentaries, many TV shows, especially TV shows about like disaster compilation footage. You know what I'm talking about?
Mother Nature can be dangerous.
Dude, that announcer voice, Mother Nature is dangerous. Like, dude, oh, what am I thinking of? What show had that shit? It was on like fucking like Spike TV shit or whatever. This summer, America's Funniest videos, yeah, that too.
Sometimes a cameraman gets more than he bargained for.
Sometimes a cameraman gets a little bit
People are about to be running in Minnesota.
This is video.
Bobby Newport has never had a job in his life.
Bob Goodry's family vacation in North Long Lake, Minnesota.
Whose voice is that? Isn't that like, is that a guy from Disney Channel or something? I recognize that voice.
Here's the half of it. The Lion King
Oh, it is.
half will be right back. Well, they never planned on a twister.
Iconic quotes include,
Look at their funnels.
No, not this one.
Nah.
Oh, there goes Bob's boat.
1,000 Ways to Die. Jack, remember that show Mansers? That show was fucking, like, the fact that it even aired is wild to me. Spike TV had the weirdest shit. No? Can you fart so hard your balls explode? Yeah, that show. That's Mansers, dude. that show was yeah, very wild.
classic footage indeed. Now number 9 is a bit more recent, and it comes from the 2011 super outbreak, specifically looking at the Tuscaloosa Birmingham EF4. This tornado was the second deadliest of the super outbreak, claiming 64 lives and injuring over 1,500. It also remains one of the costliest tornadoes ever, causing $2.4 billion worth of
I
damage.
think I wasn't much of a Spike TV kid. I just watched 1,000 Ways to Die. And then after 1,000 Ways to Die, it always went to Mansers. And I tended to not watch Mansers. Because it was just, honestly, just fucking weird, dude. A lot of it was just weird.
There's a lot of footage of this event, including the very famous James Spann coverage. But the video I want to talk about was captured by Burns Brown at the Houndstooth condos in Tuscaloosa. I've been seeing this footage pop up more and more recently. It's been featured in a few scary video compilations on YouTube, and it's really becoming more and more iconic.
It sounds just like
Oh yeah, Deadliest Warriors? Oh, dude, I remember that. When they like did like, who would win? Ancient Egyptian warrior of something something? Or this warrior? You know, that shit was pretty
The tornado
fun.
just looks ridiculously massive and terrifying. And it was taken at a high angle since they were on the
Yeah, my wife said that a few times.
top floor, so it's really a good perspective of the event.
Right,
And
Amy?
you can also clearly hear the roar of the tornado.
Look how big that thing is.
Yeah, I've heard that a few times.
Like, it's terrifying. And I don't know, it also just feels very familiar to me. I personally lived in apartments that look almost identical to these, so for that reason, it just feels very familiar, and it makes this video stick out more than others from that day. It's kind of like the Duke Evans footage when Duke Evans captures the tornado in front of the...
Unhappy Pride Month to you? What do you mean unhappy? You can't just unhappy me. That's not how it works. No.
Suburban looking
That's not
houses.
fair.
This scene itself has become pretty iconic because people who live in America can relate to this neighborhood. And I feel like people can also relate to these apartment buildings. Moving on to number 8, which might be the most quotable video on today's list, and that is the June 23rd, 1998 Columbus, Nebraska video captured by
You
Andy
literally
Ulmer.
just did. That's not
This
fair.
tornado footage is extremely
He took
dramatic.
your F-word
Just
pass
look at
away?
that massive
I had an F-word pass?
wedge and those multiple horizontal vortices.
Oh my
And
god.
it's like literally heading straight towards them. Side
Yes!
note, if you see a tornado and it doesn't look like it's moving, then it's probably heading straight towards you. In fact, listen to this wise comment that his
I'm
wife
giving
makes
it to
while
you
he
5
says it's
times.
just sitting.
Well, I didn't know. I didn't. Shit. Damn it. I could have used it so many times.
There.
Is it going? Is it coming this way?
It was just sitting there.
Well, it may look like it's sitting there.
She knows what's up. As the tornado creeps closer
Oh my
and closer,
God,
they
that's
both
scary.
begin to panic and they race towards the basement. Andy eventually goes back up to see if the tornado has passed, but he actually captures the tornado roping out right above his head.
Oh my god.
It's extremely beautiful and terrifying at the same time. The tornado literally dissipated moments before impacting their house. Seeing a tornado roping out like that right in front of you has to be one of the most beautiful and amazing things one can see in nature. National Geographic actually has an interview with Andy, so if you're interested in the man behind the footage, be sure to check it out. Iconic quotes include,
Susan, get my pants.
I've heard that one.
Damn windy.
I don't feel like I've seen this clip though. But I feel like I've heard someone say that.
Shit.
Number 7.
Shit.
The 1951 Corn, Oklahoma tornado video captured by John Gosen that I mentioned in the intro. We gotta put this on the list, not just because it was the very first video of a tornado in the US, but also because, since at the time it was the only tornado footage, a ton of 1950s public awareness and safety videos used this footage.
Coffee, Jesse. You've been standing there for half an hour.
Could you bring it over here, Helen? I've got to keep an eye on these clouds. Reason? Past your way, northeast. Yes, the bottom is touching the ground.
Why does everyone sound like this in the 50s? Ah, going northeast. Ah, yeah, it's on the ground. Yeah.
For a time, it was believed to be the oldest footage of a tornado, period, anywhere in the
Like, I
world.
feel like no one had like a different voice in the 50s. Everyone sounded exactly the same. Everyone sounded like they're on an old radio show.
But in 1995, a British Pathé video of a hurricane-spawned tornado
The
that struck Cuba in
asbestos?
1933
Yeah,
was
that's probably what it
discovered. This is also the very first video of an anticyclonic tornado, meaning that it rotates in the opposite direction of most tornadoes. Anticyclonic tornadoes make up only 1% of tornadoes overall. Pretty wild that the very first video just happened to feature one of the rarest types of tornadoes. Moving on to number 6, we have another vintage tornado video that occurred less than 2 years later on April 30th, 1953 at the Warner Robins Air Force Base in Georgia.
I thought it was a recording audio. No, like their cadence and everything. Like it's not the quality of the mic that makes it sound like that. It's just how they speak and how they like carry their words.
It's a short video, but it's the first to capture a tornado destroying buildings up close, and it's incredible footage. The violent nature of the tornado is on full display. Just look at the house being torn off its foundation. This is something that you would expect to see in a modern tornado video, and at the time, nothing came even close to it. Even decades after this footage, there still wasn't much showcasing tornado destruction up close. And for that reason, tornado researchers including Ted Fujita have studied it heavily.
Vegeta?
The video was specifically filmed at the South Ziegler apartment buildings located around here, the same location as this modern-day elementary school. There's also a bit of lore behind this video. For a long time, there was a myth that the man who filmed this was named...
They intentionally changed their pronunciations and accents in order to be heard and understood easily on the mics of the time. I guess that makes sense.
Vince Rupert, and that he died in the process. I did a video on it, and I got a lot of responses saying that it was actually filmed by a Sergeant Louis Proniak, however you pronounce that. I do wonder how the myth got started. We need to get Thomas Grazoulis on that. I'm sure he knows. If you don't know who that is, he's like the tornado historian. Anyway, let's move on. Number 5.
St. Louis tornado was just insane. It'll take a long time to repair here. Oh, I know. Yeah, there's multiple in St. Louis whenever that happened. It barely missed us, to be honest.
Classics that I'm sure many are familiar with. But before we get to that, a quick word from today's video sponsor, Rocket Money. If you're like me, you likely have dozens.
What's the code?
Rocketmoney.com/Sweggle. Sweggle to get started.
Sweggle.
For free. Thank you so much, Rocket Money, for sponsoring the video. Back to the list with number 5, a piece of footage I'm sure many are familiar with. We're talking about this video captured by Davida Lenzner of the Albion, Illinois F4 on June 2nd, 1990.
Illinois?
This tornado was extremely long-tracked, traveling 106 miles.
Oh, that lightning strike.
And while it was near Albion, Illinois, Davida Lenzner grabbed her camcorder and began to film.
Isn't it ironic that back in like the 80s and 90s, like women loved getting perms, but nowadays teenage dudes like getting their hairs permed? It's full circle.
This is one of the more significant tornado videos that has come from what is now known as the first wave of tornado camcorder videos. During the late 1980s and early 1990s, camcorders became increasingly more affordable and available to the general public. Pretty much every middle-class American family had one of these.
No.
Classic VHS.
What are you, rich?
Over-the-shoulder camcorders. This is what I'm talking about. I have one right here.
Oh shit.
I should do a whole video with this, actually. The
That'd
footage
be
of the
cool.
Albion tornado is amazing, especially when it gets closer. First of all, the tornado is very photogenic. It's tall, it's beautiful, it just has that classic
It's sexy. It's a sexy tornado.
look. Also, the video is super steady compared to most, so that's always a plus. We see multiple horizontal vortices.
Ooh, that's cool. That's actually cool as shit.
And you can even hear the roar of the tornado as it gets closer. It was featured in many 19...
Hear that train horn sound? See, that's what you got to look for, chat. Whenever you hear the sound of a train horn, that means there's a tornado coming.
And these documentaries, including my favorite, Target Tornado.
And then there'll be the rest of us. If we're confronted with this life-threatening force, we'll be torn by the need to take shelter and the overwhelming desire to watch and record this magnificent spectacle.
I want to get as much as possible.
This meteorologist and YouTuber Andrew Pritchard actually visited the site of the farm location of the tornado video. You know it's a famous video if people are literally traveling to the location of where it was filmed. Number 4 is the most recent tornado video on this list, and it has become quite well known amongst the tornado enthusiast community. It's also one of the
I'm a tornado enthusiast, chat.
videos on this list. We're talking about Clem Schultz's video of the
Oh wait, we've seen this one,
that
dude.
struck Fairdale, Illinois on April 9th, 2015.
I
This is
remember
one of the
one.
most insane and intense tornado videos that you will ever see. I mean,
This is the one where I kept telling the dude to just leave already, but he just kept staying the whole
it's essentially a unprotected tornado intercept. He just films the tornado get closer and closer until it finally strikes his own house. And he doesn't move or say anything.
time. Yeah, he just stays. Bro literally said, all right, guess I'm going out like this. Fuck it. At least we'll get some good ass footage. Did you say tornado? No, I did not. He tanked it, man. He didn't even care.
Seeing the wind move that fast outside of his house is just insane. He's even upstairs, so he gets a decent angle of the whole thing. The sounds are quite intense. You can hear the roar of the tornado, and it really does have that freight train aspect to it. Unfortunately, his wife was killed during this incident. A very tragic story, making it...
What? So he survived, but his wife died? What? Yeah. Where was his wife? Was she outside? What? Huh?
Probably the darkest video on today's list. This is kind of like the modern day Warner Robins Air Force Base footage. You know that effect I told you about earlier where if you see a tornado and it looks like it's not moving, it's actually heading straight towards you? Well, this is a prime example of that. The exact location of this video was at this house. This is street view from before the tornado, and this is what it looks like today. Number 3 is another vintage classic tornado video, and it comes from Xenia, Ohio during the 1974.
Right, and the bunker knew those things weren't safe. I think downstairs she went to take shelter and kept calling for him. His wife's downstairs. Man, that's rough. I mean, was she like down? Like, did they have a basement, or was she just on the lower level?
Super outbreak. The Xenia, Ohio F5 is one of the most infamous F5 tornadoes ever, claiming 34 fatalities and injuring well over 1,100. The famous video that claims the 3rd position on our list is the 8mm film captured by Bruce Boyd, who was only a 16-year-old high schooler at the time. It was taken on Bruce Boyd's front lawn at Ridgebury Drive. This is one of the first and best depictions
Dude, chat, I think I told you this before. There in my hometown, like where I grew up, they literally sold like one, like what, 4 foot by 4 foot bunkers, like basically closets, like concrete closets for tornado shelters. Like they had like a business that just made like concrete closets with like a reinforced door. And I guess you just buy them and plop them in your yard or something.
of multiple vortices, and for that reason, it would be heavily reviewed by Ted Fujita. While Bruce Boyd was filming the tornado, another individual a few blocks away decided to take out a tape recorder and record the audio of the tornado. And since Bruce Boyd's footage is silent, people often pair the two together. Take a listen. If you're my age, you will definitely recognize number 2. It was all over the place.
Okay, I'm not going to recognize this then. This dude's definitely older than me.
In the 90s. I'm of course talking about the infamous tornado overpass video.
Oh yeah, we've seen this one. But I want to clarify. I saw this on another video. I didn't see it when I was younger. Like, you know.
Under the girders. Is that where you want to go? Yes.
This video is of an F2 that touched down near Cassidy, Kansas on April 26, 1991. It was captured by Ted Lewis and Greg Jarrett of KSN.
Didn't everyone go kaput? No, everyone's fine. I think they just got some scratches.
TV in Wichita, just off of the Kansas Turnpike, aka I-35. What's crazy is that the men were actually on their way to film the destruction caused by the Andover F5 from that same day. The video starts off with the two men filming the tornado right off the side of the interstate. Unfortunately for them, the tornado begins to head their way.
Lots faster, Greg's catching us. You gotta go, buddy.
They then decide to seek shelter under an overpass with a few other motorists in the same situation.
I think this guy and Pig are actually about the same age. What is he, 22?
Once they get up under the girders, the tornado creeps closer and closer and closer until it finally reaches them. And it gets pretty windy. After the tornado passes, they go down to help other motorists who were caught in the disaster. This was in every documentary back in the day. I remember seeing it in school as a kid. They brought the thing in to watch, so we could watch a tornado
the
video
roller
of some
TV,
sort.
the roller
and
TV.
I remember seeing this specific footage. It just stuck out to me. I think the reason why it stuck out
I did watch tornado videos all the time when I was younger, but surprisingly I haven't seen this
to
one.
me so much was because it was the closest tornado footage I had ever seen. I mean, it's almost a tornado intercept. Maybe the earliest example of a tornado intercept. The get up under the girders line is a classic tornado quote.
Get up under the girders! Is that where you want to go? Yes!
And unfortunately, it led to the myth that overpasses make great tornado shelters. And you can hear this myth in this example in a 1995 safety video.
If you can't find a safe structure like a highway overpass, get out of the vehicle.
Yeah, don't they say go to a ditch?
Get away from it.
And this may have led to several overpass fatalities during the 1999 Bridge Creek Moore F5 tornado. This is still a bit of a controversial subject to this day. Some believe that if the overpass has girders, kind of like the one in the video, that it is a safe option. But here's the issue. Most overpasses don't have girders. When I'm driving around on a road trip, I look for them. Whenever I go under a bridge,
That's
I'm
true.
looking
Yeah,
for those girders. And I rarely
lay down in a ditch. Yeah, I mean, does that work? I assume that works, right?
See them. Anyway, it's a classic. Let's move on to the #1 video on today's list. April 26th.
Honestly, I was a massive weather nerd as a kid. I wanted to be a meteorologist and storm chaser. Unironically, me too. When I was really young, I used to watch the Weather Channel for fun.
1991 was a massive day for tornado videos because along with the overpass footage, we have our #1 video on today's list, and that is the iconic McConnell Air Force Base tornado footage.
Very large, some estimates a quarter mile to a half mile wide. This was taken just outside
God, the combination of seeing a tornado plus the siren is so eerie.
At McConnell Air Force Base by a very, very brave Sergeant Todd Kravitz. This is home videotape now.
The Andover F5 was the most violent from the April 26th and 27th, 1991 outbreak, resulting in 17 deaths and 225 injuries. The event caused over $300 million worth of damage.
Damn.
But it could have been a lot worse as the tornado barely missed 10 B-1B bombers valued at $280 million each when it tore through the McConnell Air Force Base. Also at the McConnell Air Force Base was this cameraman who filmed the tornado pass directly in front of him.
See, that's why Siren Head was so popular, chat. God damn. Yeah, time to go inside. Time to go inside. I can see things falling right in front of you. Thank you, Ash, for the $1.
Yeah, this video is just insane. You have the blaring sirens, which then lose power and turn off. You have debris flying everywhere. You can also clearly hear the roar of the tornado. It's iconic.
Yeah, I can hear that train horn.
There's an even bigger reason why it's the #1 video on today's list. The United States Air Force airmen who filmed this actually got in trouble for not seeking shelter. If you're in the military
really?
and you're commanded to seek shelter, it's not an option. You can't just be like, nah. No, you have to. You're like literally in the military. The airman was then court-martialed and had to release this footage. For that reason, it was pretty much available for anyone to use. So every tornado documentary had this. A lot of disaster compilation videos have it.
Got court-martialed for a tornado
everywhere.
video.
By the way, I'm not entirely sure who shot this famous footage. Like in this video, she says one name, but in another video, another person says another name. I don't know.
At McConnell Air Force Base by a very, very brave Sergeant Todd Kravitz. This is
Airman First Class Ariel Casal risks his life to capture the terror on videotape.
Damn.
If anyone can figure out the man behind the camera who filmed what is probably the most
Fuck
iconic
the military? Dude, I think that's what that tornado was doing.
piece of tornado footage ever, please let me know.
He was fucking the military.
Video. Thank you so much for watching. What were some classic tornado videos that you would have included on the list? Also, I highly recommend checking out the channel Ancient Air Theater if you want some higher quality versions of many of these videos. And you should also check out Tornado Video Classics. It's a must for any tornado enthusiast to watch.
Bro, a VHS? I don't even know what that is.